My name is Christine McCormick, and I am creating a video essay for EDG 6935. I'm going to discuss making learning visible. So there's several questions that we were asked to respond to. The first question is, how has the readings we have done, how have they added to the knowledge about teacher leadership and challenged our thinking? I think one of the readings that we read from Excellence Through Equity by Blankenstein and Naragwa is the best educational care is to address and target students' specific needs. So all students should receive the best educational care. And I think that regardless of where students come from, their ethnicity, their background, that's a really important aspect because, for example, I worked previously in a Title I school, and you could see how the attitude towards individual students was reciprocated from teachers based on their behavior and what type of academic care they received. Now working in a non-Title I school, those behaviors are still very prevalent or visible by some teachers in my academic community, and that's not acceptable. The second question we were asked is, how has the reading enhanced or changed your thinking about teacher leadership and the responsibilities of a teacher? It's important that you maintain learning, and I think that that's something that should never cease to happen within your subject area or content. In the book Instructional Leadership for Systematic Change by Hammond, there's a quote on page 92 that says, in addition to formal professional development sessions, learning opportunities were built into the school day for teachers. And currently in my school, we don't have that opportunity. And I think that's a disadvantage. So as a teacher aspiring to move forward with leadership, it's really important that I pass on information to my fellow teachers. So for example, we're doing our informals and our formals, and we have to come up with a strategic way to measure growth within the classroom. However, that information wasn't necessarily represented to me in a way that I could understand. And so it wasn't through administration, but in fact through my fellow peers that I was capable of collaborating, communicating, and learning that information. And now, hopefully moving forward with my formal observation, having that background knowledge can help me be successful with my observations. So in the Blankenstein and Naragwa book, there's a quote that I'd like to read, and it says, "In the context of equity, work and education is the role of a courageous leadership to help others find meaning in their work." So I'm a huge advocate for PLCs. I just got back from the FAEA, which is the Florida Art Education Association, and it's a 3 to 4 day conference where you can go and mingle and mix with your peers from all grade levels, K through 12, for art education in Central Florida and in all throughout Florida. In fact, we actually also had guest speakers come from Tennessee, and so people will travel all throughout the country to come visit this workshop because it's a beautiful time to collaborate with your peers, learn new methods of instruction, and then you come back refreshed and you're capable of taking those ideas and translating them into your current classroom, and that only helps motivate not just you but your students because they see how refreshed and positive you are and they follow that enthusiasm. So I think that's something that I learned, is that you can't turn a blind eye to help from other teachers. And then he also continues saying that when the larger meaning of a goal is valued and firmly understood, all involved can drive a feeling of satisfaction that what they are doing is worth the struggle. And I think that leads into the last question, is how has my knowledge of teacher leadership enhanced or grown my practice? And I think that when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we all have the same job. We might not all teach the same subjects, but we all have this passion, and that's to help students realize that the world is bigger than themselves, and that there's a lot of things that they're going to learn or need to learn that's going to help them better themselves and create a positive future for what they would aspire to have. And sometimes simple things, for example, like I make relationships very apparent. For example, I say, if you don't turn in that assignment, It's kind of like what happens when you don't pay your electricity bill. Your lights get turned off and you don't have electricity. So it's kind of creating that accountability for my students.